Right now, I have to stop saying.
Does that mean we're live? All right. Hello, everybody. I'm not Owen. I am Sam Nestler. This guy, Craig Ludwig. We don't really know what we're doing today. I think we're going to talk about the Canadiens.
We don't know what we're doing any of the days we're here.
Let's start it. Welcome to the DLLS Dallas Stars Podcast. We are here on Friday, August 29th. Sam Nestler as your host today. Big mistake by DLLS allowing me to do so. An even bigger mistake is allowing Craig Ludwig to be here with me unsupervised.
What are you saying? Owen has a rope or handle on us?
He tries.
The good news is he's not here. He's driving. Is he driving today? What's he doing?
I think he's flying. I think he flew. Flew to Boston. Yeah, so Owen is not here for this show as well as Tuesday and Wednesday's show. So we're free to do whatever we want, right, Kat?
We're partying.
You can say whatever. Are you on mic too?
Yeah.
Oh, Kat's on mic. We have Katya.
Why don't you have your camera on?
I don't like it.
Yeah, you
Show
put
off
makeup
those
on.
triceps.
You came in all pretty today. You can get on camera.
I got things to do after.
John would do it.
I didn't do the makeup for the show.
Speaking, is there any Cowboy news? There's nothing going on. How about the Mavs? Anything going on
with any of those teams? Stars fans, are you guys excited that the Stars are not making headlines in the wrong way like the other two major teams here in the city? But we have a couple of guests today for the Montreal Canadiens on the other 31. We don't have a guest yet, so let's start with some Montreal Canadiens history with a couple of pictures that we found this morning.
We're starting with the black and white.
Let's go ahead with the black and white. Look at this guy. Number 7.
Are you sure that's me?
That's what it says on there, and it's number 17. He's got the Craig Ludwig mustache. Look at the helmet.
Did you blow that up?
Did you rock a Jofa?
Yeah, blow that up a little bit.
Did you rock a Jofa?
Yeah, I did, but it looks really big. I didn't think it was that big.
I mean, there's some pictures of you on the Canadiens where your head looks really small.
I wear the same one.
That's you for sure. Look at that stash.
Dude,
I don't think
that's for sure
me.
you.
No, that is for sure.
Who's the? Any idea who the goalie is back there?
That looks like Rico Sevigny. Do we see a name or a number?
No numbers. You're covering it, but he's got the excellent mask.
That could be Rico Sevigny, but yeah, that doesn't.
As Kat says, Craig, you played so long ago that there are pictures in black and white. Let's look at
say that?
Yeah, that's when you got mad at me.
Let's look at a couple of colored pictures that we found as well. Here's a better one. Here's your hockey card that I found on eBay. How
much was it going
It's
for?
not selling yet. No bids.
Okay, that
No
looks
bids.
like me. That other one didn't look like me,
Yeah.
and that's the very first year. I think that's like Russian.
Maybe.
Dude, that was you.
I think it was you, man. I think it was you.
We got to check on
This
that.
is the Craig Ludwig card. This is your first year, is that what you
Okay,
said?
move on.
Okay, next one.
Come on.
Yes. That. Look at how big your shoulder pads look.
Yeah, what's
You
up
really
with
did
that?
have a tiny head at one point.
Yeah,
Right?
those are the same shoulder pads that I had in college.
There you
Same
go.
ones I wore my whole career. They're not big.
Same ones you hold. So Craig Ludwig, if you didn't know, played for the Montreal Canadiens, and it finished in this glorious last picture here. I believe it's the last picture. Oh, that's us. There it is.
Oh, that's us.
The 1986 Stanley Cup champions. There's Craig, I believe, on the far right in the background. Who's that hoist? You want to give us the
Look
names
at the
here?
size of that head. We called him Herferhead. That's Claude Lemieux.
Claude Lemieux.
That's Claude
Raising
Lemieux.
the cup.
To the left is Brian Scrudlin, who came here. And then you can see Carbo there. The only other, that's Steve in the back.
On the right in front of you, right? Is Carbo?
Right-hand side. I don't even know where I am.
Yep.
Oh, over
I
there,
think you're right above his head there.
Yeah, that's Carbo there. As a matter of fact, I called Carbo to come on to the show today. And guess what his reasoning why? Well, he said, if you can move it to earlier, I'll be there. I'm like,
yeah, 11
dude,
a.m.
Yeah,
why
why
would you
didn't we?
rather? Well, if it could have been at 11, but I didn't think we could move it. But because this is a
didn't
1 o'clock
ask?
show. No, he goes, I play golf in the afternoons. So
you got things to do.
So he apparently plays golf every day. Otherwise, I was going to have Carbo on.
I think that's a common thing. In order to get more high-profile guests, we need to make our show earlier because people like to play golf in the early afternoons.
Speaking of golf, and have you seen the documentary thing with the team that traded some guy here a couple days ago? Have you watched any of that yet?
I've heard about it, though.
Have you seen it?
I watched an episode last night, and so I'm playing golf with Haley here coming up like a week at his charity golf tournament with Charles. So you need to watch it just to listen to Charles Haley in there. So anyway.
Look at Carly Powers says, "This is the first time I've been able to catch an episode live, and I'm really glad it's the chaos episode."
It really
This is a great first episode.
I thought she was going to say, "I'm really glad that Owen's not here."
Yeah, this is a great. No, only Burned Oils says mean things about Owen like that. But
no, wait. Did our show yesterday? Did somebody bail on us yesterday? Or was that the day before?
That was the day before.
You got a feeling that's happening today?
It's happening currently.
Okay.
I can reach out. Luds, why don't you talk us through the 1986 Stanley Cup Championship in Montreal?
I don't remember a lot of it, but that was one of the years, in all honesty, that I would not have thought that we would have won the Cup. The one here in Dallas, I think we all believed that we could. That particular one, we didn't finish well at the season. You know, we weren't a top team. Fortunately, we had a guy by the name of Patrick Roy, and the guy with the big head. So Claude Lemieux ultimately scored the game-winning goal. I believe it was against Hartford, 7. But between Claude Lemieux and Patrick, we had some incredible players. We had obviously Hall of Famers. We had, Flower. No, Flower wasn't there, but Larry Robinson was there. Bob Gainey was there. He was a captain, and we had a tough team. Mats Naslund was another young Swede that we had. Obviously, Carbo was there. Rookie. Carbo and I came, and Mats Naslund came in as rookie. But that was one of those years that everything kind of fell in place. Everybody knows Joe Nieuwendyk. And I always say to Newey, I beat Newey. I look at it and I say, Newey, we beat you in 86. Then they came to Montreal and they beat us in the finals in 89. So beat Newey, lost to Newey, then won together with Newey. But in play against Joe, and Joe had a little problem with me a couple months ago. He came walk into our alumni room, and he had a cast on. I'm like, golfing? Because Joe doesn't play a ton of hockey. Yeah. What? He goes, this is you, Luds. I'm like, wait, you haven't even played with us? Because I do have a tendency. You play with us one time. I got a problem sometimes. I might chop guys. I don't think about it. But I said, what are you talking about? He goes, this is from 86 when you broke my wrist in front of the net. I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, I'm finally just getting it fixed, and it's been bothering me for a couple of years. So anyway, so that cup, and I'll tell you the one thing about Montreal that I did not realize, and I had played there 3-4 years before that happened. I never realized how big the sport was until I saw the parade. I mean, we all know dress up in suits. It's like religion. The fans in Montreal know the game better than I did, to be honest with you. Knew rules better than I did. But when we got there for the parade, if we were going to drive up and down St. Catherine Street from one end to the other on a normal day, it might take you 15 minutes to get one. That's the main road through the city. It took us 8 hours. 8 hours to go from where we signed. We went to I think the prime minister or whatever it was there, did that little thing, got in our cars. There were 2 people per car. I had me and Rick Green, who was my partner.
Convertible?
Yep. We were all, and there were nobody, no lanes, no blocking people off. So the people were right there. So how many of our cars we all had were trashed, done, broken, windshields, things. It was so slow. And we had we spent a little time downtown, and we spent a little time during our careers at some clubs and things like that. When I got done, I had Greenie and I, the car that we were in, I added it up. We had 19 bottles of Dom Perignon on the floor.
Oh my
That's
God.
how many bottles of champagne that people were bringing out for us. We could literally get out of the car, and you're there for so long.
You're going slow enough to where
slow. That's what I say. I got out of the car a few times to pee, and so I'd run up into a bar, and by the time I got back out, and then you'd have a beer with somebody in there. By the time you got back out, got past them, the car wasn't even a block away. You literally could walk maybe 2 minutes and get in your car. That's how many people. And the crotches and the lights, they had those lights, like Ys.
Uh-huh.
There were people that were throwing ropes up there so that people could climb up there and sit in the crotches.
No
Like
way.
then what they were doing, they were trying to throw bottles of beer up to them. And so it sounded like little grenades going off every once in a while that were hitting the floor. So, yeah, and then we went into the forum after and then had the big parade and everybody was in there. Are we doing for a guest now?
We have a guest.
Talked long enough?
Oh,
my God. Who is it?
I don't know.
Renaud?
I don't know
Is it
whose
Arpon?
fault it is, but our guest did not have a link for this show.
Oh, that's your fault.
No. No. We will talk about this
I will
after
get
the
on
show.
camera.
Well, wait, now we got to
No,
hurry
no,
up.
I'm not blaming you. Don't
Let's
worry.
bring them on,
Not
for
his
God's sake.
fault.
Not blaming you. I'm
Not
blaming
his
the
fault.
person who booked these certain guests.
That'd be on.
But
and
we
if
have
they're watching, they're blaming you.
we
but
have
it's
one
his fault.
we have one joining very shortly. So we're going to talk about the Canadiens' present day, but also a little bit about
So he's not waiting for us right now.
No, he's not
No,
here yet. He just
I'll
said,
let
give
you
me a
know.
few minutes. But they didn't even have the link, so now they weren't going to join at all if we didn't call him out. So we'll probably get to an ad break before that. But Luds, what comes to mind when you think of the Canadiens right now?
On the cusp. I think that, to me, when I watch them play, they look obviously fast. They're skilled. Marty Lapointe, he's done a great job there. I think the fans are back into it now when you watch games. And you even from watching on TV, you can feel a little bit of a different atmosphere. They've got a couple superstars. Obviously, they got a kid that won Rookie of the Year, and he's going to be a good one. They're making some moves to get their team there. I think they've got a couple goaltenders that they believe in.
Yep.
So I think they're knocking on the door. They played a good series against Washington last year. That was their first step. I think a lot of times when a team is kind of they're away from the playoffs for a while and you're not really sure and you're hearing it's a hard place to play. It's like Montreal and Toronto were very similar for the Cowboys. Did I mention the Cowboys yet? Anything going on? Playing here in Dallas. I think it was a great move, by the way. So anyway.
Wait, you do?
I do. I know nothing. I don't care. I just think it stirs a pot. I think
Oh, okay.
it'll
I
pay
was
off.
like,
long
hold
run.
on.
All the Cowboys do is stir the pot.
But I think they're a team now. I think from a general manager standpoint, now if there was anything else, if you're looking to pull the trigger and waiting for that moment where you go, okay. And I think Noah Dobson, who they brought in, that's why they made that move. Because now we're getting closer to that. We can give that guy $10 million a year, and we can get to that point because we think we're this close. I think they believe in a goaltender or two there. So, and I think the fans believe it now too. So, and that makes it more fun when you play in that environment because it's hard coming to the rink there when you're not winning and having things go the way that you want.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more fun being there and walking outside and having people go, hey, good game versus the other.
Versus, losing half your
Yeah.
season. So Yeah, sure. Yep. We'll hit an ad break. So we'll hit an ad break here in a minute. But
So we're putting him on hold even though he's here now?
The Bell
French
Center.
people don't like
'cause
waiting.
Otherwise, we'll bring him in and then go to ad break in 1 minute. But
Can we do an ad break
Can we hit
early?
an ad break now?
Can we do it? Let's do it
heck
early,
yeah.
Sam.
That's what I'm
Let's
saying.
hit an ad break.
Hit it now.
We have our guest coming in next after this.
Looking for an afternoon of great conversation, good company, and a chance to make a difference? Join us for the Big Brothers, Big Sisters 4th Annual Cigars and Conversations, happening Saturday, September 13th from 2 to 6 p.m. at Casa de Monte Cristo in Dallas. Enjoy a premium cigar, complimentary drink, and connect with people who care. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, board members, staff, and community leaders all coming together to inspire change. Learn how you can become a mentor and positively impact a young person's life. Ask questions, share stories, and discover how you can get involved. Whether you're a seasoned supporter or just curious, this is your chance to network, engage, and most importantly, be the change. That's Cigars and Conversations, Saturday, September 13th, 2 to 6 p.m. at Casa de Monte Cristo. Be the change, be a mentor. Visit the link in the description for more on the event and Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
I want to go to that. Luds, did you know that this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks?
Who?
Prize Picks.
Oh,
Let me
it's
tell
not-
you about Prize Picks.
Not an alcoholic.
Preseason football is underway and college football is just starting. Actually, it started last night. Technically, there was a game in Ireland last weekend, but the first real game started yesterday. There's a couple tonight, and then tomorrow and Sunday, big time slots, including the Miami Hurricanes, as we're all so excited about. But you can already make the season-long, more or less picks for the 2025 season on Prize Picks. Enter your picks before Week 1 kicks off. Let me tell you about Prize Picks. I signed up for it the other day. Pretty cool. Pretty simple. Very straightforward interface. Gives you plenty of options. Allows you to do kind of whatever you want. They put their members first. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. Plenty of reasons to sign up. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. We have a guest. True. He walked off screen. All right, we have a guest. Very close. There he is. All right. From TVA Sports, that is Renaud Lavoie.
There you go. That's it.
According to Craig Ludwig.
It's TVA.
TVA. Okay.
Renaud, tell him how you pronounce that.
TVA Sport.
There you go.
TVA Sport. Okay.
One thing. First of all, it's a pleasure to be with you, Guy and Craig. I don't think we ever met, but I need to tell you one thing. When I was a kid, I was watching, obviously, the Montreal Canadiens, and one thing that I noticed with you, if there was a forward coming down at the blue line with his head down, oh my goodness gracious, and you were on the ice, I still have some visual in my head of a couple of guys that you hit one game against the Blackhawks at
we're
the
not
Forum.
talking Trent Yanni, are we now?
Probably. That was quite something. I remember it. I don't know. When was that? Was that in 85, something like that? Maybe a little after?
Hey, Renaud, I don't know the year, but can you imagine? I think I got 5 games for that hit. And again, somebody brought this up a couple weeks ago. That was not my fault. He cut back on me, and as you know, saw me play a little bit. I can't change directions very well. So my last resort was to kind of lift my arm up. And I think I got 5 games for that. But can you imagine what that would be in today's game?
What I've got a question for you, though. You got 5 games, but Scott Stevens he had a free pass to do the same thing?
No. Honestly, I think Scotty, you look at a lot of those hits. I think a lot of them were shoulder. You know, and I think but I will agree that the forearm shiver was in a couple of them too. But yeah, the game has changed.
Ask
right?
Eric Lindros.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? 2000.
So let me ask you, Renaud, if knowing the way that Stevens had the ability to step up on players like that, why would people constantly or continually come through the middle of the ice with their heads down?
Game has changed. But the game has changed. Okay. But there's one really appreciate about the game right now. I don't know if you think alike, but the way the Panthers are playing right now, especially in the playoffs, it's old school. It's old school. They don't give a crap. They play the game really, really hard. They're making you pay. I've seen some players being really, really scared of the Panthers. And no disrespect to William Nylander, a guy that I really, really like. But when Brad Marchand, after Wessel came at him and decided to, give him a little love, that's what he said. I don't remember seeing a lot of William Nylander after.
Mm-hmm.
So they're playing a game that a lot of players around the league, especially skilled players, don't like to play, right? They don't like to play that type of hockey, especially don't want to be involved in any type of these situation. And I think the Panthers are taking advantage of it big time. They are bigger than, they're not maybe the biggest team, but the way they play, they play big, they play strong, they're not scared of anyone. And I'm gonna repeat myself. I've seen some players that totally changed the way they play just because they didn't want to play against the Panthers. And it's a good situation, I believe, for the NHL, because the last thing that you want is to have a type of game that's quote unquote too easy. I've been really, really hard against the NBA players this year in the final. Was a total joke. There was some, I think, especially game 2 of that final was a disgrace the way it was played. No contacts. Everyone was just shooting around. They were having fun against, the opponent. I mean, it was It wasn't like a rivalry or whatever, but the Panthers are creating rivalries by themselves, and you know what? That's why I believe they're still right now the most dangerous team in the NHL.
No, it's a perfect segue to what I was going to ask you. Let's talk about a little bit of a rivalry that might be brewing here with the Montreal Canadiens. The first round playoff series against Washington was just absolutely fantastic to watch. Kat, you want to pull up the pictures, the fight first picture? Just a couple of pictures here just to show it. This was game 3. I believe it was the end of the second period.
Yeah.
Josh Anderson and Tom Wilson going into the bench. Go ahead, next picture. This one, I just love the camera angle. I mean, that is just pure chaos.
That's old school.
You got the 2 rookies back here, Leonard and Hudson, just making sure they stay out of it, but everybody else is getting involved. And then it, of course, finished in this last one with Tom Wilson here. Go ahead, Kat. The mocking of the whole Canadiens team. I mean, there were people throwing gloves at Tom Wilson. I believe the Caps bench was almost empty, and they all came back onto the ice. Just take us inside of that game and that series from your perspective.
The best game that was ever played at the Bell Center by far, and that building opened in '96.
Oh,
and it was a unique game because first of all, we were talking about the fact that you need some tough players, and you need to have players that are ready to hit the other players, but to get hit too, right? You need to understand that the game in the playoffs is totally different than in regular season. So one mistake probably that the Canadiens did first 2 games in Washington, they didn't dress Arbor Jackeye, okay? And fans were, especially after game 1, they were like, you need to dress Arbor Jackeye. He's gonna make sure that there'll be some respect on the ice against the Canadiens players. Like Pierre-Luc Dubois and all these guys were going at Nick Suzuki, and no one was able to respond. After whistles, the referees obviously are not going to do anything. I saw Paul Caufield being cross-checked in the face. Obviously, no one is doing anything. The referees are not doing anything. I saw Brendan Gallagher being cross-checked twice in the face. Again, they don't have they were small, not because they wanted to be small, but they didn't have the tools to respond. And so they dressed Arbor Jackeye for game 3. And it started during the warm-up, like in the good old days. And there was some discussions and smiles, and I'm gonna go at you, and be careful, heads up. All the shenanigans, obviously, that we like. And I was between the bench during the first round, so it was fun for me to hear everything that was thrown from both sides. And I mean, the build up was quite simple. Referees didn't do their job, so probably Habs management was thinking that we're going to dress our skilled players, and the referees are going to help us, and we're going to have power plays.
nope.
The referees were, especially the first 2 games, a disgrace, total disgrace, the way they managed these games. So what happened is quite simple. If after the first 2 games, the referees are not helping you and the league is not helping you, what's going to happen, Craig? You're going to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
and you're going to dress.
And Renaud, I'm so glad you brought this up, because you mentioned management, right? And so I'm wondering, has the game changed that much? And are the general manager, Kent Hughes there, has done a good job. I'm assuming you probably think he's done a fine job. Marty Lapointe probably wasn't that kind of player, but he was a feisty player. So, as you say, we know what the playoffs are about. We know how the whole thing is being able to find ways to push people out of the fight over the course of 2 weeks. 7 games.
That's what it is.
So, and one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and this was more about Kent Hughes, I think. And so when a new GM takes over, he kind of picks up from where the last one left off. I was a big fan of Mark Bergevin, just in general as a person, player. Did he leave him? And I know things have to change. Did Hughes get left with, some good pieces there? Or how would you rate that transition?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Just Arbor Jackeye is an important piece right now for the Montreal Canadiens, and that player was signed in 2021 after rookie camp. where they played against the Ottawa Senators 1 or 2 games. The Senators dressed, all the players that were dressed were 22, 23, big guys. They were running around in Brossard. All the Habs players. There's one guy who was 18 years old who said, "That's enough." His name was Arbor Jackeye. After that couple of games against the Ottawa Senators, he was signed, obviously, with the Canadiens. He played a couple of years after again in Hamilton in the Ontario Junior League. But that being said, that's an important piece of what we're talking right now. And after that, when Kent arrived and Jeff Gorton arrived, Arbor Jackeye's brother, his name is Florian Jackeye. He's a centerman. And guess what the Montreal Canadiens did? They decided to draft him. He's 6'3", 6'4", big guy, knows how to skate, good hands. The type of player that you want to have in your organization. So I think that Mark left some good pieces. After, what's most important here is Mark helped the Canadiens, probably this management, to have a lot of draft picks, especially after he was fired. There was tons of draft picks that that the actual management could use. That's what they did. I think they drafted really, really well. They got some important pieces, especially during this summer. They signed the right people. So that, you know, eh, that boat is sailing, I think, the right way right now. And when I was talking about management at the beginning that they don't want to put Arbor Jackeye in the lineup, you need to understand one thing. I believe in it. This is not a shot against anyone, but you have a young coach. Marnie St. Louis is a young coach. You have a young GM. All the people around are kind of new. They're kind of learning what is it really, what's a regular season and what's the playoffs. Even if all these people played the game, Kent Hughes was an agent for a long time. I think there's thinking that playoff hockey, the referees and the league is going to help you, I believe, is a huge mistake. You're playing against two opponents. You're playing against, obviously, the other team, and you need to be really careful about what the referees are going to do. And don't have, and you have to expect the worst night after night. Not because it's not, and again, it's not a shot to the referees, but they're never going to help you. Never. If you think 1 second that during the playoffs the referees are going to help you, you're in the wrong business right now. That's for sure.
Yep. You just mentioned growth. The Athletic did an article, which teams grew the most this summer, and Montreal was actually listed as number 2, behind only the San Jose Sharks. One point they made that really interested me was they had the growth with, obviously, the Dobson trade, which we'll talk about, and the outside move, right? But the internal growth is where a lot of that came from and where they expect a lot of it to come from because of the young team. So, one, do you agree that they are as high as they should be on that list? And two, how much internal growth should we expect this season?
Well, I didn't see the article, but you're going to answer this. Who's number 1?
San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, but you know what? The funny part is, I was with a couple of scouts from the San Jose Sharks during last season, probably around Christmas time or whatever. And we were chatting together, and I was like, there's a good chance that in a few years we'll have a Stanley Cup final between the Montreal Canadiens and the Sharks. And they said, you know what? We were we were talking about that exactly today. We had exactly the same, way to see things, and probably it's going to happen, and it will be great for the game because I think these franchises are turning the corner and are doing things the right way. And you mentioned, obviously, growth. I think the growth right now with this team is going to be a lot different because the expectations are going to be way different. A guy like Uri Slavkovsky, after the season, decided, you know what, I'm not going to go at the World Championship. I need to take this summer, and this needs to be the most important summer of my life. And it's exactly the way he approached it. He's putting tons of pressure on himself because he wants to be a difference maker. He doesn't want just to be a guy who's going to be around because He's got a Eric Lindros type of body, but probably not exactly the skills right now. And he needs to work on his skills a lot, and just to make sure that his craft is going to be better. Because if it's one thing to play in the NHL and to be a good player, it's another thing and another approach to be a difference maker.
Yep.
Okay. And so I think he's looking at his game right now. He's looking at what Brady Tkachuk is doing in Ottawa, and he knows and he understands that he can be that guy. But you know, guys, that being Brady Tkachuk is a day-to-day thing. It's not one every 3 games. It's every day, every practices, every game. uh, you need to be dialed in, and you need to approach every game telling yourself, this is going to be hard, and my body is going to be hurt after this game. That's the way I think Brady's playing right now. And that's important for Uri Slavkovsky to understand that, okay, it's going to hurt. And I need to be involved physically. I'm a big body. I'm a skill guy. I can do a lot of things on the ice that probably the majority of my teammates are not capable to do. So this is, for me, what's going to be important for the Canadiens this season. How Uri Slavkovsky is going to play. Is he a 15 goals type of hockey player? Is he a 20 goals type of hockey player, but maybe with 2 or 3 fights, and running his body around and being one of the guy with most hit on his team? 20 goals with what I'm telling you right now, with a guy who's a beast, who's a force, is putting his body and is not scared of anything. He's not scared, but not scared of hitting and being involved physically. That's a game changer for this franchise if they can get that skilled player and think like Brady Tkachuk is thinking the game. And it's not his fault that Uri Slavkovsky arrived in the NHL at 18. He played in Slovakia, where there's no, or Czech, or wherever he played in Europe. In Finland, he played a little bit. The thing is, there's the way they approach the game is totally different. That a Kachuk is going to approach the game with the father, and the way he built, obviously, his 2 kids. So it takes some time for a guy coming from Europe to understand that, oh, the NHL is a different beast. We're not playing that way in Europe. And I was the tallest guy all the time and the biggest player. So no one was around me doing stuff or to my teammates or to myself, because I was the biggest guy in the NHL. Guys like Uri Slavkovsky, or 6'3", there's at least 5 guys per team that are at least 6'2", 6'3", if not more. So it's a different way to play the game. I think Uri is understanding the game way better right now. He's a smart kid. He's putting a lot of pressure on himself. And I believe that's going to be key for the Montreal Canadiens to see how he's going to play. Because one thing I'm convinced, like in 2-3 weeks at training camp, we're going to hear the same thing all over again. We don't want just to be a playoff team. We want to win the Stanley Cup. It's easier said than done, but I think that they learned so much against the Capitals, because the way the Capitals were playing against them, sometimes it was men's against boys. But at the end of the day, the Capitals at one point were the Montreal Canadiens, and you need to learn tough lessons, I think, before touching that Stanley Cup. And that, I believe, that's exactly what happened against the Capitals in the first round.
Got to go to break, or
yeah, but I'm going to ask Renaud. I want to just keep going, but we're supposed to ask you about your idea of the Dallas Stars, but I don't play by the rules, so I'm going to actually do it. I'm going to do it a different way here. If you could ask Craig Ludwig any question in the world, what would you ask him?
Is
and it can't have anything to do with Shea Petty.
No.
Okay.
That's for sure. But regarding the Dallas Stars?
Anything you want.
Well, I have a question regarding the Dallas Stars. Did they hire the right coach?
For you?
Oh, good one. Time will tell. Gully's
Yeah, for sure.
second kick at the can. I'll say this, Renaud. Like, I've had people here get so sick of hearing me say this. I didn't like the way Dallas played in their own zone, and we had mentioned that to Gully and talked to Gully a little bit about it. And I think that's one of the areas he's going to tweak it a little bit. Which I think, if that's the case, then I believe that Jake Ottinger will be better. I think there won't be as much chaos in their own zone. Now, our want or need right now, we think, is a top 6 winger, and so there's that hole over there that somebody's looking for. Now, I think that to answer the way that Gully brought up, and he phrased it he wants 1% more out of each player. And I was like, 1%? I think we're going to need a little more than that. But the way and I think he was talking about the physicality of the game. But I believe that what he meant by that is, in other words, if he gets 1% out of 20 players, he's got 20% more physicality, which is what we believe. And you've been saying the same thing. It's a different game. 83 is different from 1 through 82. So, and I do believe that Gully probably learned a lot playing with 2 of the best people on the planet, playing in that organization, how to handle players. So let me throw it back at you. Why do you ask that question? You don't have faith in him?
Well, no, I was a little surprised. I'll be honest with you. I was a little surprised that he was, the new head coach, because something that you just mentioned for me is really important. The physicality aspect of the game is real. Okay, you mentioned it. You don't play game 83 the way you play your first 82 games. Maybe you're gonna have over 82 games, 5-6 games that are gonna look like a playoff game, right? But not probably not more than that during a season. So what I want to see to be honest with you, last 2 seasons, I felt the Dallas Stars should have been in the Stanley Cup Final. Every time I was putting the Dallas Stars in the Stanley Cup Final, for me, it was a huge disappointment both times that this team is not playing, in the last round, because I believe that in the Western Conference, they're, and no disrespect, they're way better than the Oilers. Okay? I believe that the Dallas Stars are better than the Oilers. Starts with goaltending. Obviously, there were some injured players too. That's really important to mention. But I felt like it was a little too easy sometimes for the Oilers against the Dallas Stars. And so the physical aspect of the game, I think, is really important. And I was wondering if it's the right coach for what we just mentioned, the physical aspect of the game. Playing better defensively, obviously, it's going to help your goalie, but your goalie needs to make saves. Okay. I remember Sergei Bobrovsky, game 7. I'm in Toronto, first period, 3 breakaways. 3 breakaways in the first period, 3 saves. After that was the end. It was a walk in the park for the Panthers. But at the end of the day, there was 3 breakaways, and the goalie made those three saves. If I'm looking at last game that the Stars played, I was told, well, the scoring chances against the goalie, they were way too high. Well, timeout. There's one goaler with the Panthers who's way older. He's got tons of experience. He made all the saves in Game 7. I had another kid. Okay, he's 26 years old, but he didn't help his team. And I know he was pulled out, and I know it was a big mess after that. I understand that, but at the end of the day, you need to make saves. You're not going to win a Stanley Cup without saves, key saves, not just regular saves, key saves at key moments. So if they're playing better in their D zone, I think it's going to really, really help. I think it's key. It's really important for the Dallas Stars to play that way. I'm with you. But at the end of the day, that's why I asked the question. The mental aspect of the game, the physical aspect of the game, you need to ask yourself, is he, and I know what I'm going to ask is really tough, but since the last 2 Stanley Cup final, and especially after the last one, every time I'm looking let's say the Montreal Canadiens, because that's the team I'm covering. When Kent Hughes is getting a player, in my mind, is can he play in the playoffs against the Panthers? Yes or no? It's a simple question. If you think that player is going to be scared just a little bit, he shouldn't be in your lineup. Okay.
Florida Panthers are way better at pushing the other opponent out of the fight as a group, not individually, but as a group.
Yeah. Exactly. So now my question is, you need to have a Paul Maurice type of coach on a team like the Dallas Stars. That's my belief. I know it's easier said than done.
Though? Okay, Renaud, can you do that if you don't have those type of players, though? Because I do put some responsibility on management saying, because again, are we trying to turn Maverick Bork and Wyatt Johnston and Robertson, are we going to turn them into the Wilsons? And because that's not going to happen. Yeah. You need to sprinkle in a couple of guys that can go up and down and do everything that you're saying.
Yeah. And you're right. You need to have the right personnel. Okay. But there's one thing, I just want to go back to the Panthers roster. Okay. Just for the fun of it right now, because I'm with you. You cannot tell a player, hey, you need to play tough suddenly. But I just saw a picture of Aaron Ekblad. Aaron Ekblad, when he started his career, what were you thinking about him? You were saying skill guy.
Go ahead.
Doesn't want to be really involved.
You haven't said nothing yet.
Right?
Huh? Were you listening?
Yeah.
Were you like me? I want you to answer something.
No. You did the defenseman question. Get out of town.
Okay. I wasn't listening. What?
So Aaron Ekblad, when he started his career, right? I never expected that Aaron Ekblad will grow a beard and will be one of the toughest son of a gun on the ice after 6, 7, 8 years in the NHL. The way he was playing at the beginning. So I think Paul Maurice really helped him to understand what he needs to do. If I look at other players on that roster, for the sake of it, okay, Anton Lundell. Anton Lundell is not the type of player who's going to run around players and start, being involved in scrums. Eetu Luostarinen, same thing. I don't see him doing it. Evan Rodriguez, not really, not that type of player. Carter Verhaeghe, come on. Who thought that Carter Verhaeghe could play in that type of hockey? What I'm saying here, it's, and that's why, Craig, I'm with you. It's not one player. It's a team mentality. Yes, there is some players that are going to help you. Brad Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk. We name a few. We all know who these players are. Sam Bennett. We all know the names of these players that's going to change the mentality of your franchise. Okay, but the other players needs to understand that that's the way we're playing right now. If you're not comfortable, and I named some players that I never imagined will be comfortable playing that type of game, and they are. You know why? Because they understand that everyone, I have your back. I'm going to be there. Don't worry. I'm here for you. I'm going to help you. You do your job. Don't be scared. I'm here for you. I'm going to protect you all the time. No one's going to touch you. That's the way they're playing the game right now.
No, we're going to keep you on. As long as you're available to stay, we want to keep you on here. But we're going to we're breaking all the rules today. We're going to bring on our other guest.
Are we?
As well as Renaud.
What if they hate each other?
We hope they don't. They live in the same city.
Make my day.
Is he ready, Kat? All right, bringing in from the athlete, it is Arpon Basu, or is it Basu or Basu?
Basu. Comment ça va?
Basu.
See, here we go. Come on, Savamo.
We already got it.
Come saw.
We had to bring you guys together.
We're going to do the whole show in French from now on, yeah.
Yeah, you guys just go French, and Luds should be able to figure it out.
Hey, Arpon, is it cold where you're at, or what's the deal? You got a hoodie on?
It's not hot. It's not cold, but it's not hot. Yeah.
All right. Well, as I said, we're breaking all the rules here today. We are bringing two guests on at the same time because Owen's not here, so we can do whatever we want. So, Luds, why don't you go ahead and ask whichever one of our guests you want to ask the question.
Well, I guess where I was going to go, guys, I would love to bring up Caufield, but my partner over here is a huge college fan, so I'm going to let him do that. I'll talk about the other one, the defenseman. I guess I'd like to get both of you guys' opinion on this. Like, so with Hudson having the career that he did, is this part of the reason that they brought in Noah? I mean, are they going to be partners because you got a little bit of that offensive, defensive kind of thing, or how do you see the addition of Noah Dobson? And you can go ahead and talk about how good the little kid is too.
Yeah.
No, I think Noah Dobson just fits into their age group really well. And when you look at their group on defense, David Reinbacher may or may not play in the NHL this season. Probably won't start here, but could see some games at some point. Right shot.
Yeah.
Caden Gooley still needs to stay healthy for a full season, but is going to be a mainstay in their top four. Left shot. Lane Hudson is obviously on a track to be a pretty elite offensive defenseman. Left shot. And Noah Dobson right shot. So you're looking at four guys. Dobson's the oldest of the four at 26, if I'm not mistaken. Two right shots, two left shots. This should form the core of the Canadiens blue line for the next minimum 5 years, but really for as long as they want, really. And so it is the foundation of what could be the strength of this team, frankly. And being able to get a guy like Dobson, I mean, I wrote this when they made the trade, but when they drafted Reinbacher at the draft in Nashville, I asked one of their guys if he saw Reinbacher as similar to Moritz Seider in some way, just because European, comes from like a non-traditional hockey country, sort of a late riser in his draft year. And he's like, no, I look at him more like Noah Dobson. And he said, try trading for Noah Dobson today. You can't trade for guys like that. And then almost 2 years to the day later, the Canadiens did trade for that guy, and they didn't have to trade Reinbacher to do it. So now they have Reinbacher and they have the actual Noah Dobson, Reinbacher, who they saw as a future Noah Dobson, and the actual Noah Dobson on the same blue line, potentially, I would guess as soon as probably next season. But, the Canadiens blue line for the foreseeable future looks like it's going to be a real strength. It should be one of the better groups in the NHL when this team is ready to compete.
Arpon, I think it was actually The Athletic that said it. They called he was the Hudson. Noah Dobson was the Devon Taves for Noah Dobson. So is that as important to the Makar Taves kind of relationship for that group?
I'd be mildly surprised if Dobson and Hudson played together, frankly. The four defensemen I mentioned, and that's not this season, I'm talking about long term.
Right.
Of the four defensemen I mentioned, you have two strong defensive defensemen in Gooley and potentially Reinbacher. We don't know what he's going to be. And two offensive defensemen in Hudson and Dobson. I mean, they could play together late in games if they're chasing the game and they need a goal or whatever. I don't know what they're going to do with their power play this year because Dobson is a PP1 guy. Hudson was an excellent PP1 for the Canadiens last year. So will they go with 2D on PP1? I don't know. But just in terms of profiles, it matches too well to have one offensive guy and a more traditional defensive guy paired together on each of your top two pairs. And so you have an elite offensive defenseman on first and second pair, and a really solid defensive guy on each pair too, both of whom can skate really well, which is important. But you never know. I mean, I honestly don't know what Marty's thinking, but my thought would be that you would want some backup for each of those guys. That Dobson would need some defensive backup. Hudson needs some defensive backup. And so anything's possible, but I think I'd be slightly surprised if that happened.
It's funny you both. No, we're taking a break.
We're going to take a break.
Oh,
we skipped a break and we brought in both guests, but we can't break all the rules. So you two stay there, please. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this ad break with DLLS. All right. Of course, the one time I actually found a bunch of copy for this Cowboys trip, I only have to talk about it for half of this ad break. But the Cowboys are going to Las Vegas with True. I have two, but I can combine them. DLS Cowboys Las Vegas road trip presented by True Fan Travel. I'm going to read this for you. The Cowboys and DLS Sports are headed to Vegas for the first time ever to play the Raiders the Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. True Fan Travel is bringing the ultimate Dallas diehard experience to Sin City with self-travel package trips also available if you are not coming from the Dallas area. Join hundreds of passionate fans for a legendary long weekend packed with Cowboys pride, unbeatable nightlife, and a stadium takeover at Allegiant Stadium for Monday Night Football face-off against those Raiders. Now, they're going to have to do it without a certain player who is now wearing a cheese head up there in your country. But the itinerary will be a travel day and check into the luxurious Mandalay Bay, a day to enjoy everything, and a pep rally, the all-inclusive Dallas Takeover tailgate and game day, and then depart back home. So it is going to be fun. There's plenty to do. Make sure to check that out at truefantravel.com because this is how Dallas does Vegas. Also, DLS, become a diehard because we have so much stuff to offer you. We have amazing writing from all of our teams. There's plenty to talk about here in Dallas. So follow our Cowboys crew and their writer. The Mavs crew, I'm sure they're going to do something very stupid again this year like they did last year. We have the team that brings you the news, breaks it down best, both on the show and in writing. So go to alldls.com/diehard and become a diehard, or scan that QR code that Luds was just pointing at. And if you become a diehard, you get a free t-shirt, Luds, and we have some pretty cool ones. The Dallas collection just came out recently. One of my favorites, the Dallas First All Y'all shirt that Luds was rocking, the Nolan Ryan shirt where he's just hammering away on there, the Big Tex, I believe is his name up in the top right.
With the sombrero on
the
up there?
mascot algorithm, the DLLS barbecue, and plenty more, alldls.com. And that is all I have to say on the subject. Let's bring our guest back in from Quebec here. I want to ask you guys, as Lud said, about Cole Caufield. I love watching college hockey, and I still, to this day, there's few players that I enjoyed watching as much as I liked watching Cole Caufield at Wisconsin. He wins the Hobie Baker in 2021. Just an absolutely unstoppable force, and he comes into the NHL, and he's been a very good player. And I know there's
He's
ups
American, by the way.
he's an American guy. There's ups and downs. Where is Cole Caufield at right now, and what do you see from him this season and just going forward?
Well, I think Cole's going to have all, his chances again. And I always said that he's going to be a 40 goal forward per season. Can he touch 50 one time? Probably. I mean, he's so skilled. He's working a lot on his craft. He's a great person. I think he's a great teammate. He really wants to win. He hates to lose. Huh, Arpon? Can we say that?
Yeah.
Like, that's a guy in this dressing room, and I'm not saying that, but it shows. It shows that when he's losing, they're losing a game, it's hurting him. When he's getting a chance, maybe to get the equalizer or the scoring, the goal that's going to make the difference, and he had his chances. He's not capable. It hurts him. It hurts him. You cannot ask for more. I think right now with Cole Caufield, and I don't know what Arpon thinks about Cole, but I believe that guy wants to do some really big thing, not only personally, but with his teammates. I feel like this guy, the only thing that he wants to do right now is win games.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, he's an extremely competitive guy, and when Renaud said that when he comes out to speak to us after a loss, it's
Oh,
definitely evident that he is not very happy to do it. But does it like a pro. One thing, so you mentioned him in college, right? I went to Wisconsin when he was there after he got drafted. I watched a lot of the video. I watched a lot of him on video in Wisconsin, and what's most telling about Cole Caufield and that desire to win that Renaud was talking about is how different he is today from the kid who played in college.
Mm-hmm.
The kid who played in college floated around in the offensive zone, tried to get lost, would go to areas of the ice that were frankly unimportant on purpose so he could pop into areas where a teammate could find him for a shot from a sharp angle and he would score. He was almost purposefully not involved in the play. His main goal was to get lost. Cole Caufield today is a highly involved player who does not get lost. He goes to the dirty areas. He engages in puck battles. He's not a big guy, but he's relatively strong, and he has a low center of gravity that helps him win some puck battles. He's not the best at it, but he's better than you would think a guy his size would be because he's so competitive. But he's also understood that what gave him so much success at Wisconsin, what gave him so much success at the national program, is not going to give him the same type of success in the NHL without all this other stuff. So his focus and his determination in rounding out his game, becoming less of a defensive liability and actually make that a strength. It's not quite a strength in his game right now, but he's not nearly as vulnerable to getting bodied off of pucks and losing those battles on rims coming out of his own zone and things like that. So you mentioned him in college. I think the biggest proof of Cole Caufield's desire to win is just how different he is today from the kid you saw in college. He still has all that skill, but he's willing to do some of the dirty work that gets you the puck more often, that allows you to show that skill off, which you can't get away with not doing that in the NHL.
Is he playing for Team USA in Italy in February?
I'd be pretty shocked,
well,
personally.
You know what? And I'm with Arpon because the way they build their team sometimes, no disrespect to Bill Guerin and his group, because I can say this exactly the same thing about Team Canada. There's some decisions that they're making. I can't believe it. Okay. I'll be honest with you. There's some free pass to a couple of guys there because their GM is who, and the coach is obviously the Tampa Bay Lightning coach. Anyway, I don't want to go in that direction, but I'm going anyway there. I think that Cole Caufield will play for Team USA, but he needs to have a strong start, because if you're asking me, I'm with Harpin right now. Right now, I don't see why, because it feels like Team USA doesn't really like him. But that narrative should change and has to change. It's exactly the same thing with Nick Suzuki. Team Canada didn't like Nick Suzuki. Okay, he should have been there. Should have been there. But I so Nick needs to change the narrative to make sure that he'll be a part of Team Canada at the Olympics in the next winter.
Hey, Arpon, is getting a player getting lost another way of saying scared? I just wanted to check on that.
No. Yeah, no, it's not actually. It was kind of it was like an offense. He was such a focal point for opposing teams in college that it was actually a pretty bright offensive strategy. Like, he would basically make it, because I watched 2 games where I think it was against Minnesota Duluth, if I'm not mistaken, but they literally told a guy to follow Cole Caufield around.
Yep.
Like, they had one guy who was assigned to shadow Caufield. So when Caufield would go in the opposite corner in the offensive zone, you had this guy standing next to him, and the rest of the guys are playing basically 4-on-4 hockey. But in most cases, and even in that case, in that game, eventually he did it so often that eventually he lost that shadow, because he just kind of. So yeah, when I said getting lost, it's not about getting scared, because he would pop.
No.
He has this incredible ability. He has an incredible understanding of space on the ice and where it's going to open up before it actually does. And he has a very good knack of arriving at that space just as it opens and just as there's a lane to get him the puck. And if you do get him that puck, he's going to finish it. So, but you can't do that in the NHL. It's not a good NHL offensive strategy. In college, it was. And he understood that a lot quicker than I think a lot of guys.
I think you can, but you need to be Nikita Kucherov, right?
Yeah.
Or Pavel Bure.
Highly skilled.
Pavel Bure used to do that a
or
lot.
Mario Lemieux. Or Mario Lemieux.
Right.
I was watching on NHL Network, Stanley Cup Final between the Blackhawks and the Penguins, and I was looking at Mario, and it's exactly that. He's finding ways
it's in the gene. It's in the genes, because his dad is still the leading goal scorer in NC3 hockey.
Yeah,
his dad Paul. So it's in the genes.
Wisconsin.
We finish all these shows with
point.
You guys are the experts, right? You cover Canadian teams, so everything you say is gospel. So we want to ask you both your opinions on the Dallas Stars this year. Where do you think they end up, and how do they do?
Go ahead, Arpon.
I mean, there's a lot to like with Dallas, obviously. Honestly, when they made the trade for Rantanen, I was wondering if they really needed that. Like if they wanted to allocate that much to that area of the game. So I'm very curious to see how he's going to mesh with that group. Because the group, there's a lot to like in the group, and obviously the Jason Robertson situation is a situation that needs some sort of resolution, right? And if I'm Jason Robertson and I see Mikko Rantanen show up, I'm starting to wonder, right? Like where's my future lie here?
Yeah.
So I do feel like there's some questions that are kind of looming over this group, and I wonder what impact that may or may not have. You throw in the coaching change that you guys were just talking about. You throw in the way last season ended with that contentious post-game press conference, which honestly I didn't think he was wrong. You don't say that after a game, but he wasn't wrong.
Yep.
So I just feel like there's all these kind of peripheral things that are sort of like anytime you're a team that continuously gets to the conference final, which is really hard to do, but continuously loses that series, at some point either a switch clicks where you're like, okay, enough of this, I'm going to get over that hump, or it goes the other way. And I feel like Dallas is there right now. Like they have to, it's going to go one way or the other. Where maybe the frustration leads to some negative things, or maybe the frustration is channeled in a positive way and it leads them to the Cup final finally. But they definitely have the talent to do it. And, I think not enough people recognize how bad missing Heiskanen was for this group. And even the version that came back was not Miro Heiskanen at the height of his powers, you know? And so you add him to that group and you have a cup contending team. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind Dallas could win the Stanley Cup. It's just that all this ancillary stuff going on in the background, I just wonder, and for their sake, hope that it doesn't kind of get in the way of that.
Yeah, and I'm with Arpon because my big question mark is Jason Robertson. The reality is, when you're ending a season the way it ended, okay, there was a lot of obviously stuff going on. And after that, first thing you know is, hey, Jason Robertson, it could be traded. That rumble started, by the way, at the trading deadline, because when Mikko Rantanen was traded, the name of Jason Robertson popped that morning. No one reported it. I didn't report it that morning, but it was the first time since Jason Robertson arrived in the NHL that his name popped. And after that, after the season, it popped again. Okay, so you felt like there was something there, obviously coming from a few months ago. The thing is, I think Jason Robertson can really be a difference maker. He can be a player that's going to help you raise that Stanley Cup. Now, every time Jason's going to go in another city, there'll be we're always going to ask question about what's his future. Is he staying? Obviously, he's not the only player who played, for a team at the end of a contract like this. But I believe that, because it's Jason Robertson, is it going to be a big distraction? It's one thing when it's Brad Marchand, but Brad Marchand was 36, 37, and his team was not a good team. Now we're talking about we just mentioned a team that, could win the Stanley Cup, but there is a lot of question marks. And these question marks are not just something that you can throw under the carpet. I believe that they're really important questions that needs to be resolved.
Plenty there to think over. Thank you guys so much. Sorry for the absolute chaos and confusion, but this was really awesome. So
Perfect.
I appreciate it. Renaud Lavoie. I just wanted to get the roll of the tongue there.
Renaud
Lavoie from TVA Spa, I think is how he told me to say
TVA
it.
Spa.
TVA Spa.
Oh.
All right. And then Arpon Basu
Buddy.
from The Athletic. Thank you guys so much. That was awesome. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks for having us. Take care.
Thanks, fellas.
All right, there they go. The reporters from the Quebec area. Guys, if you stayed with us all day, thank you. That was pure chaos. It's Friday. Owen left us alone. It's his fault. For Craig Ludwig, for Katya Valaba over there.
I butchered that one,
I'm just rolling the tongue with everything. And I'm Sam Nestler. We will see you guys. We're off Monday. We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a good weekend. Peace.
all silly like the mayor.